won't depart from what they have taught you. And the best thing that you parents ever can do is raise you in the house of God, because the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. If we don't fear the Lord, we never will fear nobody, and we'll get in bad trouble in our lives. And that will cause you a lot of heartaches and troubles in your life. If you don't fear God, you'll get on drugs, you'll get on alcohol. But when you fear the Lord, you'll never touch alcohol, you'll never touch drugs. And on February 18th, 1976, I was born into the family of the greatest parents in the whole world. Robert and Barbara wrote the greatest parents that anybody ever could have got. And if you don't feel that your parents is the greatest people in the world, there's something wrong with you, or your parents won, and your parents might ought to look in the mirror and see the way they're raising you, and seeing if they need to do something else with you and raise you in a better way, in a better environment. My grandparents was Bob and Grace Stevens, two of the greatest grandparents in the world. The other grandparents was George and Jenny Root. I never did know George, he died at an early age. Jenny, she loved me with all her heart. She loved me and my brother with all her heart. My brother, he was 5 years old when I was born. He's a great brother and a great Christian person now. And that's what life is all about, is being a great Christian person. And when I was 5 years old, my first 5 years of my life, I was raised in the Church of God, Burning Springs Church of God, where E.C. and Ruby Campbell were the pastor and pastor's wife. And they was great Christian people. E.C., he died here 2 years ago, and he left a great witness behind him. He was a great man of God. Nobody could say nothing bad about him. And when they look down on us when we leave here, if they can't say nothing bad about us, we've done a great job of living our life for the Lord. And that's the way that we all ought to want to live our life, where nobody can spot our lives and spot our ministries. Unfortunately, a lot of ministries today can be spotted because preachers today and time we live in, they don't live like the old time people did. They don't go witness to people. They live in sin. Some preachers does. Not all preachers live in sin, but the preachers that live in sin give the preachers the bad name and the Christian people the bad name. A long time ago, you couldn't pay the preacher enough money in this world to live in sin. But preachers today and time we live in, they don't care much about their testimonies of Jesus, but we need to really care about our testimonies of what Jesus has done for us in our lives. And I was 5 years old. I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosus by Teresa Madden, a great optometrist, eye doctor. She's a great Christian woman, a great friend of mine. Later on in life, I went to her several times, and she would put lights in my eyes, and it would hurt my eyes so bad, and I would have great headaches, and I would go out there real mad at her and wanting to fight with her and stuff because it hurt me so bad. But later on, I learned that she was doing her best for me, and that's what matters. And I love her without a shadow of doubt now. I pray for her every day. She had a kidney transplant a year ago, and it's doing real good. And pray for her that she can do what the Lord would have her to do in her life, and for all of us to be better Christian people. Like I said, when I was 5 years old, I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosus. At that time, I didn't know what that meant. When you're 5 years old, you don't really know what things are. You don't know much when you're 5 years old. You just know that you're going to be living, and they tell you what you ought to do and what you ought not to in life, and you're either going to succeed or fail in life. You're either going to grow up and be something great or something lousy in life. That's what people tell you when you're 5 years old. But we need to do what the Lord wants us to in our lives and serve Him like we ought to. In 1986, or in the early 80s, I had a cousin. He was several months old, and he died. He went to be with the Lord at that time and stuff. And that disease, I went all the way through grade school with that disease. It never did bother me. And then when I got in high school, first year in high school, after that summer, my vision went to 2100. I said, why, God, I give my life to you when I was 10 years old. God, why? God, am I going through this? But the Lord had a reason for me going through that, and He'd give me peace and happy and joy. He'd give me peace through that rough trial. Then I went through the rest of high school. I met Robert Markham in high school. We was buddies when we was little. We used to play softball and stuff. Had the best times ever was. Robert was a great basketball player at Clay County. Now he's the freshman coach up here, and he's a great Christian man, a youth director at his church. I met my Olympic while I was in high school, a great friend of mine who become a deacon in my church where I attend now. And that is a great thing to have great deacons in your church. We got a lot of great deacons in our church, and that is a wonderful thing to have great deacons that love the Lord and live their best for the Lord. That is what all the deacons in your churches ought to do if they ain't living their best for the Lord. They don't need to be a deacon in the first place. And now I said I went the rest of my school year through school. I met a friend of mine, Travis Fields, who was a great person. When he got out of school, he got on drugs. But the Lord delivered him from drugs in 1997. Now he's a minister of the gospel, and that's a great thing. The Lord can deliver you from anything if you just let Him. But most people don't want to be delivered, is the reason they don't get delivered in the first place. And like I said, I went all the way through high school. It never bothered me again. I graduated from high school and done real good. First summer in high school, 1995, had a headache. Woke up, my vision went up to 2800. I said, why, God, are you doing this to me again, God? And the Lord had a reason for it. Oh, and I got peace over it again. And I lived from 1995 to from 2001, I never did have another problem with my vision. I thought 2800 was bad. I thought 2100 was bad. But like I'll tell you in a few minutes, that was really good. In the long run, we take a lot of things for granted that we ought not take for granted in life.